Everybody, welcome back to the Gear Shed. Got another gear review for you today. Today we're looking at the Naturehike Cirrus 2. This is a semi-geodesic dome 3-season backpacking tent. And this isn't a super lightweight tent, unlike some of the other ones I've been having a go with. This guy's more sort of traditional weight. It comes, as you see here, from China. I got this one from AliExpress. I'll stick the link in the description below so you can have a look for yourself. Comes with a footprint. It's just a PU coated nylon. It's about this on its own weighs about 235 grams. So take it or leave it. If you use it, it's good. If not, it's a bonus. The tent itself, on the AliExpress listing for this from the actual Naturehike store, it weighs 1.77 kgs. So that's doesn't include the pegs and the guy ropes. So I weighed it with all those, and on my scales it comes out to 1.85 kgs, which is about I believe is about 4 pounds 1 ounces. I'll stick all those weights in the description so you can have a better look, and I'll do a breakdown of fly, pegs, poles, things like that. Now, more tents, you say? Yes. What I've done is I've sold a couple of my other tents. I got rid of the Hex Peak F6E, the big winter TP. Didn't really get on with that one. A lot of condensation issues. Even with some of the mods I had on it, it still leaves a little bit to be desired for me personally. It's there's a lot of room in it. It's huge, but it's not really usable space. It takes up a lot of room on the ground. It's a massive, big footprint, but the usable space is all in the middle. So when you're laying down, your feet and your head, there's less of the space there. So I flicked that on, sold that on eBay, and also sold the 3FCY Ultralight pedestrian one, which is the ball in the bag, single layer bivvy, sort of single pole bivvy tent that I had as well. That was a bit of a punt. let's be honest. It is light, it is small, and it probably would work in some places in the world, but not so much in the UK. It's a bit too damp here for that, and it's also a bit small for me. So I thought I'll cut my losses and I'll invest in some new tents. So yeah, so the Naturehike Cirrus 2 was shipped from the Chinese. So sort of looking at materials wise, it's got a 20 denier fly and floor, 4000mm PU coated with silicone coating on the outside, seam sealed fly, so that's pretty good. The poles on it, it's got 3 poles, and they're made out of that 7001 series aluminium. So Chinese aluminium, that is, so it's not Eastern poles and all that. But that being said, keeps the cost down. So this landed in the UK is £106. It was with free freight as well, which I thought was quite reasonable. And it didn't take long to get here. It actually went via airmail. So I think I was waiting. I think all up it was about just shy of 10 days, which isn't too bad. Right, so what we're going to do is we'll pop it over its packet, and what I'm going to do first is put the inner up. This is inner pitch first, so we'll put that up first and have a look at it, and then we'll pop the fly on and we'll jump inside and look at measurements and see how much room we've got. Before we put it up, let's have a look at the poles and pegs to give you a bit of a closer look before we get carried away with ourselves. Comes with these Naturehike branded pegs. They're just the spiral type guys. They're really light. I mean, what I've found is, yeah, you can go and buy titanium pegs, but the titanium pegs I've actually had, they don't really give me much advantage over these. They're about the same weight. They might be a little bit stronger, but a hell of a lot more expensive. So, yeah, I mean, these are quite efficient. They basically give you enough to pitch the tent. So there's 6 main points on the ground. On the main part of the tent, 2 for the vestibule, and then you've got 4 for your guy ropes as well. So got a little bit of reflective cord on the end as well, so that's quite cool. Now pole wise, you've got 2 blue ones and a red. Now in the tent itself, you will see later that it has a red webbing for this pole, and these ones here are not color coded as such, so they just have like grey bits of cord on where the clips are. So still allows you to tell them apart pretty easily. Now, as I said before, they're 7001 series aluminium. They are they're 3-season poles, so quite light. I think these I will throw the calipers on them when I get home and have a look at what diameter they are, but they're quite thin diameter. You're probably looking, you know, if you look at your pegs here, it might give you an idea. They're not massively burly. They're probably about 8mm maybe, 8mm pole, thereabouts. And they're the sort of the older style with the ferrules that insert. So they're not like the Dax ones that have the inserted ferrule that goes inside and the expanded outer that goes over them. So, I mean, they'll be quite serviceable. The good thing about this sort of, what I like about these type of tents is that you can get replacement poles. To get replacement poles is really easy. You don't have to go back to the manufacturer because they don't have hubs or anything like that to worry about. So if you wanted to, you could then make up your own set of Eastern poles. If you wanted to, if you were a little bit concerned about the quality of these. I think these are fine. I mean, I've had a lot of tents with this sort of quality pole, and generally, as long as you're not doing expedition stuff and trying to stay up on top of mountains in 50-mile-an-hour winds, generally these are quite good poles. It's only when push comes to shove, when it's really, really windy, that you might have a problem. But then again, I've seen Eastern poles break as well. So yeah, that's one thing. Yeah, if you want to, you can easily replace it. There's nothing unique about them. They're a standard pole. So righty, so let's get this inner up and we can have a look at the ins and outs of that one. Here we go, guys. That's the inner up. As you can see, it's all mesh. There's no fabric panels in it at all, so the ventilation will be probably quite outstanding. There's not a lot of airflow restriction here at all, so it's not going to be the warmest tent. So as I said, this is designed as being a 3-season tent, so they've maximised it more for the summer period than the winter period. So what we'll do is I'll take you up and do a little bit of wobbly tripoding, and we'll have a look at some of the features on this guy. So first up, as you can see, obviously inner pitch first, it's held together with these little clips, little plastic clips. They're quite robust. There's a lot of meat on them, so they're not going to, I wouldn't think they're going to fall apart in a hurry. They're quite sturdy, and they're sewn into these little fabric webbing loops into the tent itself. They're probably the only slight sort of suboptimal pitching system part is this. So where these poles will cross over, so there's 3 of these points, there is a tie. So I've had tents in the past that have used this sort of system. Maybe it needs to be something that NatureHike has to look at. That's probably my only bugbear with this particular tent is these crossover points. So there's one on each side here, and there's also one up the top here as well. It just kind of slows the pitching process down. There's bound to be another way around that, maybe with a toggle or hook or loop or something like that. So we'll see how we go. So let's just pop down here and we'll have a look at the pitching system itself. And this is the same as on the Targa. It has these, obviously these straps attached to the bathtub floor and these little aluminium fittings the pole goes into. So these are pretty robust. There's nothing to go wrong there. I mean, you can stand on that and it's not going to fall apart at all. So relatively easy to do. You can slot them in. Yeah, and away you go. It's not much more to say about it really. There's no plastic bits and pieces. Now what is interesting is, just grab the fly and show you that. Because the fly itself also has these clips on. Let me just find one here. There we go. Has them on the fly itself. So they're just a little aluminium piece. Now it's not clear instructions wise whether these go underneath when you're putting the fly on, whether you put that just underneath like that, or whether you pull the pole out and then put that down on top and then put it through both of them. It's not really clear in the instructions. What I've been doing is taking this out and sticking this on and going from there. But as you can see, really simple system. There's nothing to go wrong there. If you stand on it, it's not going to be the end of the world. Nothing's going to happen. And they should last indefinitely, really. There's, nothing to go wrong. So good system, small, light. Yeah, probably reasonably well thought out. So what we'll do is we'll have a look at the door. This is quite good as well, but it's a double-ended zip for a change. Been seeing a lot of these NatureHike tents that have single zips, which is a bit of a pain. And what's also nice is the door rolls up out of the way from on the sides. It doesn't actually dip down and fall in the dirt, which is a nice touch as well. Right, so you can just have a quick look inside there. It's very hard with these videos, it's very hard to show how much room is actually in here. What I'll do is I'll pop the fly on and I'll throw a couple of bedrolls in here to give you a better idea. This is actually quite a big tent, the 2-man tent. You get 2 people in here, as long as you're, 2 adults that are reasonably well acquainted with each other, could fit in here. Certainly not, it's not small, put it that way. At the back here I can actually sit up the back. I'll show you that later. But alright, so let me just pop the fly on and I'll bring you back and we'll have a look at some of the features there. Right, so this is the fly on. As you can see, I've gone from the grey. This comes in 2 colours, this sort of silvery grey, which is reminiscent of the cloud up, and also it comes in it's kind of like a lime green, but because this material is so thin and looks almost transparent, I did like the grey, so I've stuck with the grey. Hey, but I mean the green's probably a nice colour as well. Right, like what I was saying before, the material itself is a 20 denier nylon. It's got a silicone coating on the outside and a PU coating on the inside, so it is seam seal, which is a bonus as well. So let's have a little bit of a peruse around, have a look, and we'll have a look at the door. So it's got 4 guy ropes, so 2 we're mirroring one. What's also interesting is with this fly, there's also ties on the fly, the same as we had with the inner, and that ties them together, which I haven't put on with this one, but that would again slow you down a little bit. I'd probably only put that on if you knew it was going to be really, really windy. That would anchor this fly to the poles and make it a lot stronger structure wind-wise. Like I was saying before, this is the little setup. Let's see if we can get a good shot of that. So we've got, what I've done is I've put that little clip on the top. See there, little tip on the top, and the inner on the bottom. It also comes with this adjuster as well. Now what I'm thinking with that, it's quite a tight pitch. There doesn't seem to be a lot of sagging going on, which should be good. What usually happens with a lot of these tents, especially this lighter material, is when they get wet they generally tend to sag a lot, and then you get the inner touching the outer. But with the design of this, I think that's going to be quite minimal. What we'll do is we'll run around the back here. What's also nice is the shape of this is that you have a better chance of finding a piece of grass, a piece of land that's this shape, a long sort of skinny shape, instead of, with the teepee tent, like there was no way the hex peak would fit into this little gap here. So, you have to find big places for these trekking pole tents, these hex style ones. So this is a bonus, this should be a bit easier to pitch and find places for. Now on the back here, which seems to be a new addition for a lot of the NatureHike tents. I know the new version of the Cloud Up has got one of these. It's a little vent on the back. So again, creating a lot more airflow through the tent, so that should minimise any condensation that we've had issues in the past. I know the Cloud Up had issues. I mean, I told that to my mate Angus, and he seems to get on it quite well. He said a little bit of issues at the back, but that's design. They've actually changed that as well, so it'd be interesting to see if I can get my hands on one of those to have a side-by-side comparison between the two. That would be quite good. So yeah, this little flap here, the overlap to here, so it's quite a real decent one, and it's also, you can actually velcro it off the little stiffener, and you can actually velcro it shut, which is quite a cool way there as well. So if it gets really bad, you're going to be getting into some pretty bad rain for it to blow up underneath there. But yeah, so that's quite a cool little touch. So as you see, it's quite smooth. There's no mid-panel guy ropes at all, but there's 2 at the back here. I've only put this one up, but there's 2 on the back. Same system again with the ties and the fly sheet. So you need to tie those on to sort of anchor the tent to the fly sheet. All right, so let's just jump around the front here. Pick the world's smallest campsite. So the door and vestibule. Let's have a look at that, shall we? So alas, the outer here only has a single zip, which is a little bit of a pain. It'd be nice if it was a double end. It's got a nice big fat flap on it as well, which seems to be quite snug to the zipper. Again, can't really say that's a YKK zipper, but it does run pretty smooth and it does look pretty tidy and neat. So chances are, in the past, I've seen that a lot of the tents, NatureHike tents, have got YKK zippers, so we're going to take that as a given there. There's no real way to confirm that, but it's quite a reasonable zipper too. It's probably 5, maybe a 6 mil. It's quite a big. It's not a little microscopic one like on the 3F's UI backpacking pedestrian one thing I had. So vestibule space wise, Or what we'll do is we'll throw me this is my Montaigne Grand Tour 55. Okay, it's not full, but you would easily be able to get that into there. Let's lay that down there. Get a couple. You could probably stack two on top of it on one side. I mean, bearing in mind, you obviously you're trying to go for lightweight and being double skinned as well, it does tend to limit what space you can do. But that's quite a decent sized vestibule. One of the other things I'll always look at for tents as well is a drip line. So if you're here, you probably get a little bit of water maybe in this corner. So if you zipped the fly up so that it's not completely, doing things with one hand is never good, not completely open, you'd probably protect most of your floor from that. This does stick out a little bit. It's hard to say until you get out in the real world, but it's one of the gripes with a lot of tents is that the way the doors open, the rain, you try getting in and out and the rain comes off, and also then you can't really have the vestibule open that much when it's raining, so you're going to have to, you know, get in, zip it up and stop the rain getting into your tent. Alright, so what we'll do is I'll put some bedrolls in here and I can jump in and show you what the internal space is like, and we'll have a look at this vestibule once it's zipped up as well, and then after that we'll have some thoughts on what I think. Alright guys, welcome to the inside. So just to give us some idea of room that we have inside here, I've got a couple of mats out here. Usually I have my NatureHike, which is that's the sort of standard fare they take, which is a big thick blow up thermarest. Don't have that one today. I've lent it out to one of my mates who's up in Scotland, so we have to make do today with this NatureHike, which is quite a bit bigger. It's basically a proper camping mat for sort of carpet camping. So it is square, so it takes up a hell of a lot of room. What I'm really looking at for this is more the weight, so more the thickness and everything else. So just bear in mind that the backpacking versions of these mats are actually rounded like this one. The one I'm sitting on here, this guy is a thermarest, just a standard thermarest self-inflating mat. So this is what most people would usually think of for width wise. So you can easily see you get two of those in there, not a problem. If you had two of these, but the X-Lite versions, you could actually put these side by side and wouldn't be a problem. It would be definitely, there'd be enough room there because they taper down enough at the bottom, they shouldn't be overlapping. Right, so room wise, stacks of room in here. It is actually stacks of room. I can either sit down the back here. As I said, I'm 6 foot. I can quite happily sit up in here. There's plenty of room to move around. You could get dressed in here, not a problem. Obviously if you've got two of you in there, you'd have to take turns, but that's the way it is with a tent this size. Stitching wise, inside, the whole tent is really well made. I can't see anything on here which would give me any cause for concern. It's all stitched really well. Stitching's all straight, nice. I think the big thing is that people got in their head because it's Chinese, it must be cheap, it's a cheap price, What you're basically doing is cutting out the middleman. You're buying it from the manufacturer. Really, that's what you're going to put in your head. This is the sort of price that, well, a retailer would probably, like a manufacturer like some of the other big name brands, the North Faces and things like that. They'll be buying the tents for less than what we would be buying, obviously buying this thing for retail. And then they're putting their markup on, and then we're putting it into a store and they're putting their markup on it. So if you can get around the idea that's where it's at, it's actually just coming straight from the manufacturer. But yeah, it's a great tent. It's got two little pockets in here, one each side, one for each person. There's your standard fare with your clips in that you can run cord in between it. Yeah, overall, that's a nice tent. There's plenty of room in here. Weight wise, obviously nowadays this is quite a portly tent. You compare it with some of the other things that are available, but you're getting all the bonuses of having a twin skin. You've got insect mesh inside. There's going to be very little condensation. It's going to be quite strong. yeah, the room, etc., etc. And you're going to have to compromise a little bit with that. So if you get to the stage where you've got a nice light pack, and you can compromise a little bit, and up, you know, okay, it's a fair bit of weight if you're comparing it with, say, the Targa 1, for instance. It's another sort of 600-700 grams more, but far bigger tent, less problems with condensation, also stronger. So yeah, that's one to think of. Right, so yeah, liking it. It is quite good. It's probably, I'm aiming this as to be my sort of 3-season backpacking walking tent. I'll keep the Targa for bike packing because it does pack down quite small, and you're only out for a day or so. This one here would be better for multi-day trips. Yeah, let's have a look at this vestibule while we're here. So we'll stick that in and have a nosy. Just bear with me when I adjust you down. Come down here. Let's pop inside. So as I said, it's single. Only got the single zipper on here, so you're not getting that ability to vent the top, which is a bit of a shame. I mean, it's not probably a big cost to spec a double-ended zip for the outer, but that's where they've gone. Same as what they did for the Cloud Up, really. Right, so this camera gives you a wide angle, so it's going to be a bit of a problem to actually see the exact. It's very hard to tell the size in there, but it's well over 1 meter and a bit there between there and there, and it's got a good amount of room in here. As I said before, you can easily pack a couple of packs in here. Cooking wise, I'm not, you know, I'd still cook in here with the door open if I could. That would be yeah, that would be beneficial. It's something you shouldn't really do unless you desperately have to, because you're going to end up gassing yourself. But more importantly, if you have any issues with the tent and the fly falls on the tent, this is going to go up like a, yeah, it's going to go up pretty quick. So yeah, you wouldn't be able to get out in time. But yeah, so yeah, plenty big enough festival, definitely bigger than the Cloud Up, definitely bigger than the Targa. The Targa was the postage stamp. So this is definitely usable for 2 people. If you're carrying this on your own, luxury, tons of room. You can easily put your boots and stuff and whatever, and yeah, be plenty of room. Right, so we'll hop outside and have one last little look around, and I'll give my final thoughts on it. Okay, final thoughts. Where we're at with this thing. I like it. It's quite a nice tent. It's a very traditional style tent, so we're not looking at, you know, making out of Cuban fibre or single skinned or anything fancy. Just good, honest, double skinned, 3-pole semi-geodesic tent. It's still quite light. I mean, if you took this weight of tent and sort of threw it back 15 years ago, 10-15 years ago, people would be stabbing each other to get one, because it is quite light, really. You know, all up 1.8 kgs is a pretty light 2-man tent, especially sort of 10 years ago. And even in the mainstream tent world, if you go to the high street shops, this is still quite a light tent. You've been paying big money for any of the name brands to get it this light, and they've done that by speccing light material. So it's light fly material and light fill material. So bear that in mind. I mean, it doesn't mean it's going to be any weaker. It's just that it's probably going to be light for length of life, not probably quite as good as some of the other ones out there. But then again, for the price, most people, you're probably going to get sick of it before you destroy it, unless you're living out of it, which is, you know, another killer fish. So this being an inner-pitched tent as well, the other thing that's probably been thrown out there comments wise is that it's, for the UK, it's not ideal. There is this perception that obviously every time you put a tent up in the UK, it's pissing with rain. Yeah, that could definitely happen. It's not the slowest thing to pitch up with. It's 3 poles. The clips make it pretty fast. The only thing that sort of lets it down is those tyres on the fly and the inner. Remember the fly, we had those tyres and the crossovers in here. That slows it down a bit. It's not devastatingly the end of the world. What I do like about the whole concept of it is the full mesh inner. Yes, it's not going to be as people say, oh, it's not going to be as warm, but you're going to have minimal condensation, and that's I think for the UK is a big thing. So definitely a big thing. Yeah, lots of condensation here. All right, so yeah, big vestibule, good pack size, good solid, no nonsense tent, and I keep harking back to the price. 106 quid landed in the UK. You just, you know, it's a good price, and I'm really impressed with the way it's made. I mean, if we have a quick run up the old stitching here, it's all pretty solid, straight stuff. There's nothing freaky going on there. It's all cut well. The panels are very good. It's all, even the branding, you know, that's all good stuff. So yeah, I would give me, you know, sort of, we're doing 1 out of 10. 10 being, oh my god, I've just bought myself a helibig. This is in the 7 to 8s for me. It's definitely it's a good buy, good tent. And for most of the things that I'm going to be doing, this is a good sort of, it's going to be the workhorse essentially. All right, so as per usual, guys, thank you very much for watching me and taking time out of your day to have a look at what I've got to offer. Please remember to subscribe, hit that bell notification button as well, because then you can get anything new that I've got coming out. Feel free to add comments in the comments section as well. I don't mind answering those. If you're after dimensions or anything that's specifically you can't find on the internet, I'm more than welcome to pop the old tent out and have a look for you and comment away. Alrighty, so until next time, guys, thank you very much and keep watching.